Hi guys, Henry here. Behind me is our Land Cruiser 80 series, which we as a family dubbed Tigger. It's a 1994 model FZJ80, and in today's episode I'm going to show you a little bit more about this vehicle. Let's get cracking. So starting from the front, we've got the Aob Bumper. I think if you look at all the options available to the 80 series, I think the Aob's got probably the most aggressive look for the vehicle. I've only got one comment regarding this specific bumper, and that is that you will notice there's no sections on this bumper where you can insert a high-lift jack if you want to replace the front wheels. They do have these little flips. You get a specific Aob bracket that you can insert with a bolt onto it, and then you can slide the high-lift jack onto it, and then you can lift the vehicle. But that's my only comment with regards to the bumper. We've got standard spotties, and you'll also notice a big gap. We don't run a winch on this specific vehicle. It's mainly used for camping and touring. And other than that, we've got window protectors, these cables, and then we've got a curved light bar on the top. With that said, let's have a look what's happening inside. So this is the 1FZF motor. It's a straight 6 carburetor. I did play with the thought process of converting it to a 1FZFE, the EFI model, but a few years back we did the Namib Desert, and honestly this vehicle just surprised the hell out of me, so I'm quite happy with this setup. If you looked at our first episode, and I'll put the link up in the corner, you'll remember that one of the main reasons why we did the modifications and upgrade to this vehicle was my concerns regarding our electrical. It was a complete utter chaos. And the biggest concern I always had was, if I had a problem with the vehicle electrical wise, where was I going to start looking for it? And after a couple of beers with Jock and Yuan, they decided, you know what, the best will be to just rip the whole setup out and start from scratch. And that's exactly what the guys did. So the setup that we have now is that you'll notice that we got two 105 amp per hour batteries set up in parallel with 16mm electrical cable. Happy with this process, and as you guys can see, it's clean, it's neat, and nothing that can really go wrong with it going forward. Okay, so if we look at tires, we are running General Grabber's X3s 33-inch. From a suspension perspective, we do have the Ironman foam cell 300 kilograms with the airbags at the back. So if we're doing big touring, we'll put some air in the back and it will just stiffen up the arse and give that more stability with the vehicle. And then we have the Ironman snorkel. And as we move along, roof rack at the top, where the solar panel and the table is actually cut into the roof rack, so it gives that whole streamlined feeling. We got working lights on the side and on one of the wheel carriers at the back. Rock sliders was developed by a good friend of mine, Jacques Groenewald. You'll notice it is quite wide, and that is we actually love that because it gives our boys the ability to stand on the side of the vehicle when we travel. As we move backwards, VHF radio. Then you'll also notice that we've got gull wings on both sides. This gull wing actually gives you access to our cargo bay. One of the main reasons why the modifications to the build was that I wanted to get access to my chairs, access to water. If we stop next to the road for a quick coffee or for lunch, I don't want to open everything at the back. More importantly, if it's fully loaded with gear at the back, I don't want things falling on top of me. So I've got a divider in the back. I can have access to my chairs, fishing rods, and then I've got an electronic box on the side. So that is the activation of the compressor. I can activate our working lights if needs be, and then the last one is that I can activate the water pump and I can get our water out of the vehicle. If we move around, let me just switch that off quickly. If we move around the vehicle, we got two spare wheel carriers. Each of them got spare bags on top of them, so it helps when you have to, if you're traveling for multiple days and you have to get all your rubbish out. So these are used for dustbins and for our braai grids. And Then we got also 2 inlets to pump up our airbags. And if you look at the top of the roof rack, you'll notice that this is our 12 volt coming into our roof rack that actually gives lighting to the working lights and light bar. And also if I have a tent at the top, I can plug it in there and the whole tent is set up within 12 volts. So let's move to the other side of the vehicle and I'll show you a little bit more. On the passenger side, we start off with a 270 awning from Quick Pitch. This is a must for any touring vehicle, so if you don't have one, please consider one. On this side we have a gull wing. If we open it, it's a full-blown kitchen. It makes life when touring for multiple days just so much easier. So it's a set for 4. So I can just quickly take this out. So if we stop for a quick coffee or for lunch, I can open it. I get access to coffee, and then also on this side I can open this and all our cutlery, pots and pans, is all stored away on this side. So it's much easier for the boys as well. So we don't have to open the back, we don't live out of a crate. I did start off when I started touring, everybody started off with having multiple crates where all your kitchenette stuff is in. This just makes it so much easier, so happy with that. So for you that have seen our episode 1 with regards to this build, after months of testing and touring with this setup, I'm happy to show you the final product. So let's have a look. So this drawer system was designed and developed by a good friend of mine, Jacques Groenewald. One of the main concerns, other than the electrical component, was that I wanted to have a drawer system that we can live out of. We don't travel where we camp away from the vehicle, so we don't live out of crates. Everything stays in the vehicle and we live out without the vehicle. So I mentioned in our first episode is that I wanted to have a drawer deep enough where I can put in cool drink or any bottles, or that doesn't fall over, because previous trips I have found that if the bottle's lying down, the boys didn't close it, everything spills out. So I wanted to have a deep drawer. So this drawer is mainly used for anything kitchen related, food, dry food, cooking utensils, kettles, stoves. Yeah, so this one is our big drawer. Second one, the one at the top, all this gear just stays in here. This is all our camping gear, anything related to chairs, inflation, tire fixing gear, electrical, hacksaws, lights. Yeah, anything related to our camping setup stays in this drawer. On this side we are running a big 90-litre National Lunar fridge. It fits in nicely in here. Right in the front you'll see we've got a 55-litre water tank from Front Runner. On this side, this box is the kitchen unit that you saw previously, and very important, we are running 2 fire extinguishers, one in the back and one right in the front below my seat. So the back is mostly used just for our sleeping bags and then for our clothing bags. We've got a roof shelf that was designed by Henry Maton from Zombie. So what makes that makes life so much easier, because we shove in all our pillows and jackets and pop-up tent right in the top. So when we open the side of the vehicle, nothing is falling on top of us. It costs you just you just have to do one big desert trip, running up dunes and storming down dunes, to realize the importance of having gear and cargo not falling on top of you. So we try to keep it clean and simple. On this side, we've got a Victron full monitoring system. Then we've got, we can measure the amount of water that we got left in our water tank. Activate the working lights on the one on the swing arm and one on the side of the roof rack. And that one activate the water pump to give us water to both taps, one on the bumper and one on the swing arm. And then we got two 12 volt outlets, a working table, and again we make food on this side of the vehicle. If we look on the swing arm, we've got a shovel and our high lift jack. So on the side of the drawer system is all our Victron electronic stuff. So it's just opening it here. In a nutshell, it is anything from a DC to DC, AC to DC. We've got a 375 inverter, MPPT. We can plug in our 220 volts. The top plugs at the top is all 220 volts. And then the red plug is the plug for the inverter. We've got a display for power, and then all our circuit breaker and fuses is easily accessible. So it's neatly tucked away next to the side of the drawer system. Bags and any loose gear can't get in the way of this. And if you want to get access to power, you just lift up the lid. If you plugged in onto a 220 inlet, all the white plugs is immediately 220, or if you want to make use of the inverter, you just activate it and use the red plug. So this is where the boys are living when we do touring. If we look at the bottom, there we've got 12 volt charging points for them if they want to charge any of their devices. If we move to the back, we've got this utility bag, which is very important. It carries all their toys, Hot Wheels and books. This is very important, as I mentioned previously, because in the event that if we do dune driving and if you're going down a dune, it's really awkward when a little Hot Wheel flies through the vehicle on top of your windscreen. So this is their section. They need to keep it clean, and this is just to help them organize their section at the back. Let's move to the front. So here we are in the front. If we start from the top, you'll notice that we've got a roof console, and that hosts our VH Ecom radio. Then moving down, we've got a center console that was designed and developed by R&D Off-Road. And if we open it, it's got a hidden safe at the bottom. And then more importantly, it actually is also the place where we store our medical kit. If I close that, you'll notice that there's 4 switches in the front. The one is to activate our fuel pump, to pump fuel from the secondary to our main tank. The second one is to switch on the curved spotlight at the top. The third one is to switch on the spots on the bumper. And then currently number 4 and number 5 is not used. Planning to put an air on the vehicle, and if we're adding a winch to the vehicle, that will be number 4. So guys, that's a quick look at our vehicle called Tigger. Remember, there's no right or wrong when building or developing your own overlanding vehicle. The key component is, it needs to work for your family. Until the next time, cheers.